Hello everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Mallow. I am joined by my co-conspirator Alex, and we're talking the D&D OGL changes yet again. This might be the most number of videos that we've ever put out on a topic ever.
Besides maybe Star Wars or Marvel. Remember, we were being accused of being Disney shills for a while.
That's true, and we did back in an old series, we did a bunch of the Game of Thrones stuff. At one point in time. Well, back when Game of Thrones was good, but I digress.
Yeah, House of the Dragon's pretty good. I'm okay with it. All right. Okay.
So Watsy's taken an entire step back and been like, hold up.
So, I'll read the statement for anybody who hasn't had a chance to grab it yet, or if you just like some reference. They put out a tweet today. And today is Friday the 27th, saying, over the past few weeks, you, the community, have made your voices heard. And we've listened. OGL 1.0A will remain untouched, and the entire SRD 5.1 is now under the International Creative Commons license. Your feedback in the OGL 1.2 survey is already clear. They apparently got 15,000 responses, and we are acting on it. 62% are satisfied with adding the SRD to Creative Commons, and those dissatisfied wanted more in the Creative Commons. 89% are dissatisfied with deauthorizing OGL 1.0A. 88% do not want to publish content under OGL 1.2.
Yeah. It was pretty straightforward. I took the survey because I wanted to see how D&D was phrasing it as a fellow creative, fellow creative designer and game designer, but also as somebody who has purchased a lot of D&D products in the past. Being a consumer of that, I felt like it was a need to make a choice, and I was, for the record, I was very unbiased in what I said. I was keeping it 100 with these folks, because as we have said many times on this channel, this is a business. What we do is a business. What D&D does is a business. What Pathfinder does is a business. We all need to sustain these things to make sure that we can keep putting out work for you, you know?
Which is precisely why this is exactly I have been, obviously I have a store and people have been on me for weeks. What do you think's going to happen? What's going to happen? You know, you publish games, you own a game store.
Yeah.
Nowhere in here did I ever think that this was the route they were going to take. I figured they were going to water down 1.2 enough to get it to where it was going to be acceptable. This level of, we give up, we're done, sorry. When I read the news earlier today, I was legit blown away, shocked.
Yeah. I don't think that this is them giving up. I think, and I tweeted about this earlier, I think that you're about to see one D&D published under SRD 6.0 with its own OGL,
yep. Mm-hmm.
And that is the way that they're going to be able to do it. Because as we have said on this show and on this channel a few times, the dick move of this is not that they need to take back license of the things that they own under their IP. It's that they did it with a system that had already blown up and gotten so big with creators out there that you essentially were going to chop their legs off from under them. You can't do that. Now, if you come in with a whole new SRD and a new system, that's a different story, and that's a different contract, and that's a different way of doing business.
And that's probably, and I agree with you, that's probably where they're going to go. But I saw a couple things earlier this week since our last episode of IDENTECO After Dark. And obviously, we do ID After Dark on Wednesday, and then we cut those segments up and they get posted. And so go onto the channel and look at what we said on Wednesday. But since Wednesday, I saw something, and it was a guy who'd been at Wizards a while ago, and he said, back when Wizards first acquired Dungeons & Dragons from TSR, they dumped a lot of money into market research because TSR was in the toilet. Why is nobody buying D&D anymore? Where did we lose all these players? And what they actually learned was that they hadn't lost players, right? But nobody had jumped to AD&D 2nd edition. Everybody was staying on original AD&D or basic SAT or everything else. The number of D&D players remained stable
Yes.
but the number of people who were buying new product was this. And at the end of this, he said, the biggest competition for 1D&D, and this is the whole impetus behind deauthorizing or attempting to deauthorize the 1.0. The biggest competition for 1D&D and the next edition is 5th edition.
Yep.
And he's absolutely right. The fact of the matter is that as long as there are third-party publishers who are now under Creative Commons, just publishing on content, you don't got to switch.
Yeah.
You're done. The number of people who are going to switch is going to drop. And I agree with Mallow. I think they're going to do a new license for 1D&D. There'll be a new SRD. There will be a new thing. But honestly, they are their own worst competition now. They are, and what you're going to see, and the thing that I was saying about the tweet today and everything like that was the amount of things that, like, you're going to see it for those people who don't like... For those people who don't like 4.0 and didn't like all the combat changes and the rules and things like that were being made there, that kind of stuff is about to come back probably with the advent of all the VTT and all the other things that they're trying to kind of do there. You're going to have all of that kind of stuff come back, and that's how they're going to get around and make it a 6.0 piece with it.
Yep.
I think it's going to be far less, because originally when they announced 1D&D, they said it was going to be fully backward compatible with 5e. I think that's going away. I don't think it will be backward compatible with 5e, especially with... So one of the things that I've done is I went and looked, because originally in the first 1.2 draft, they said, okay, these sections, and it was like 20 pages, are in the Creative Commons now. This is what we want to put in Creative Commons. Today, and it's actually official, it is no longer on their site. It's in the Creative Commons site.
Yeah.
They dumped 400 plus pages.
Well, it's in D&D. It's in dndbeyond.com/attachment/something blah 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 SRD 5.1 CCBY 4.0 license.
They can't take back the Creative Commons license.
No. But they can host it all day long.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, the stuff that they put in there, right? So, for example, under Creative Commons now, and Mal, I'll have you jump in on this one in a minute. They put the Tarrasque.
Yes.
They can't. Now that it's in the Creative Commons, if I am reading the license correctly on the Creative Commons site, on creativecommons.org, they can't take it back.
Yeah, I mean, it's provided free of charge as part of the Creative Commons. You are free to use the content in any manner permitted as license, as long as you include the following attribution.
Yep. You can copy paste the Tarrasque into your book as an enemy, exactly as written in the SRD, and they can't do anything.
Yep. Now, you do have to include a statement that says compatible with 5th edition or 5e compatible, but...
And you have to put the Creative Commons license in the front of the book.
Yeah, but those are marketing terms that if you are creating for D&D 5th edition, you probably want to do anyways, so, you know.
I'll be honest. I am honestly surprised at the amount of material they put into the Creative Commons, including stuff like Beholders.
Yeah, but those were things...
Beholder was theirs.
No.
That was created for D&D.
While true, there's enough of it out there in the fantasy world. Well, what they may be doing with this entire thing is they're basically essentially saying that, okay, the generic fantasy genre is so generic that we're just going to make it out there.
Let's get away from the generic. They put the deck of many things.
It's been copied a million times. The thing about D&D is it's been out there forever in a day.
Before you could do it under the OGL thing, like, this is, again, I'm surprised they put all of it out there, because now it's completely out of their control.
For 5.1. The minute they publish something under a 6.0, including the deck of many things, and the Tarrasque, and the Beholder,
changes in the thing to where you can't use those versions. But people can pump out content for 5e until the cows come home, and
they may still.
Again, this goes back to, I think their biggest competition for 1D&D and whatever 6th edition is going to be 5th edition.
Just like 3.5, like 3.0 and 3.5 was the biggest competition for 4.0.
Yep.
We're seeing the cycle repeat itself. I think what they are hoping on is that with this D&D movie and with the tie-in products and all of the other things that are coming, I think that's where their play is going to be in terms of money, frankly.
My feeling on the D&D movie hasn't changed since Wednesday. I think they're going to get less boycotty shit from the tabletop RPG crew. But as you and I both well know, that's not a huge portion of the market. And it's not enough to sustain a movie that may have a $150 million budget.
True. Well, and the thing that I've seen is a lot of people. Well,
and I don't think that trailer gets the normies.
Well, and I think the other thing that comes along with it too is you've seen a lot of people. I've seen it at least on the TTRPG space. There's a lot of people who are resubbing to D&D Beyond.
This is weird.
I'm not one of them because I don't trust it anymore, and I just whatever. I'll just use pen and paper.
Yeah.
But
It's like a federal,
the thing that kind of comes along with it is
federal violation.
like,
well, I mean, technically you're not supposed to do it in the
there's
air.
a lot of different ways that you are looking at bringing the different pieces and parts of this along, and I think the Hasbro might be playing a different type of game with D&D 6 versus the D&D 5, and just like, okay, we're just gonna port it over and make it a subscription service. I think you're not gonna see one D&D happen anytime soon. I think it's gonna be another year in the making. And they'll just keep pumping out 5e stuff for a little while.
So, looking at the online discourse, it's about what I thought. There's a percentage of the online community that's basically saying, and congratulations, all y'all are going to go back to the Dragon game, and da-da-da-da-da, it was all for naught. Some people are like, hey, look, this was a victory for the community. Jason Bowman, all snark aside, I think everyone is allowed a victory lap. It's been weeks of anxiety and worry, and while I have no interest in trusting WotC with my livelihood, I'm sure this is giving good many folks making D&D content a sigh of relief, and that is a good thing. And that's the lead designer for Paizo, by the way.
I think it's a shallow victory.
I think it's a win.
I think it's a bit of a shallow victory because I think what you're going to see is
They didn't even let the survey close. They were going to go until the 3rd of February, and they were like, never mind.
They don't need to. They knew from day one how much it was having problems and things like that.
So what's the over under that Chris Cow, who is the head of digital over for D&D over at Wizards, what's the over under on him being let go in the next 2 months? After this, because this from all the reporting from, and by the way, shout out to Linda Codega, who broke this story on Gizmodo and who I was watching today. And she, by the way, I also appreciate she goes on smaller YouTube channels. I've seen a bunch of that today. She was the one that broke this story. She stayed on top, they have stayed on top of it. Mm-hmm. And wow. Yeah, but what's the likelihood? So according to all reporting, Chris Cow is the one who spearheaded this initiative. The 1.1, the shift to digital.
It depends on what the backup plan is.
Because Kyle Brink is the only one talking now.
Well, he's the only one talking now because he's the only one that can put out seemingly a competent, non-snarky response.
He's the only one that they've put out there.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think it's an instant, but I think it is a let's see how it plays out with the backup plan.
Yeah.
And you may see some restructuring at WotC depending on how all of that stuff plays out. So we'll see. We'll see.
Less and less.
I was surprised. Shocked, right? Even.
Like cat.
Not what I thought was going to happen.
It's a momentous day. And that's about all we can say about it. It's a momentous day in RPG gaming history.
Hey, I like what Lynn Codega said earlier today. They said collective action works, whether it's unions or this.
Yep.
If enough of your society comes out and says we're not playing by this stupid corporate rule,
yeah,
you can affect change.
Well, you got to hit them in the pocketbook. That's what we've been saying for a long time.
I have no doubt that this is all, and again, this was not, Wizards didn't just come to this realization on their own, like, oh, you shouldn't do this. No, it really was. It was hitting the pocketbook and the community being like,
Yeah.
So good for you, RPG community.
Yep. Put one on the board for the good guys. All right.
On that, let's check. I haven't looked at post day. going from today, the announcement came out there. Since the announcement came out, their stock's still down another $1. The stockholders aren't happy.
Yeah.
This is not what the stockholders wanted. They're down
Stay
8%.
mad.
They're down 8% today.
Yep. Stay mad.
It's down 8% less than.
You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself in a community that doesn't like corporations and doesn't like corporations pulling stuff like this, and is tight enough that can keep that going. So
Yeah.
that's all we can say.
It has not been good for them.
No. And we'll see how it portrays the rest of the time with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it continues a downward trend for a little while. And I think, as I don't want to be completely doom and gloom, but on the 19th, I said that when they put out the playtest version of the OGL 1.2, I tweeted it could be the death of D&D. And I think it really could be at this point.
I don't want D&D to die, right? I've had a lot of fun playing D&D in my life. I just, and again, I know this is not practical, and because I've had some of my customers be like, why don't they just get rid of D&D? Because nobody can afford to buy it. And nobody who you would want to be able to buy it, can buy it. And the people who can buy it, you don't want to buy it. Amazon could buy it. Apple could buy it. Microsoft could buy it. There's corporations out there that could buy it. You don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
I don't want D&D to die. I just want it to take its proper place, and I don't want it to be about that. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that gaming is about this. Because actually, by the way, little confession, I was working on some 5e compatible content just to see what it would do.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
Just toying with it. This 5e is not a terrible system. It doesn't work for IDENTECO. It doesn't work for a lot of things. And I think people should try other stuff. But it's not terrible. You know?
Yeah.
It's fine. You know? Yeah.
All right. Well, on that, we will leave you. Don't forget to check out playidenteco.com if you would like to try another game out in the world. If you're still shopping around, check us out over there. Join us every other Tuesday for Chaos Incorporated, 6 p.m. Pacific over on twitch.tv/Identico. And don't forget to check out the rest of the channel, youtube.com/Identico. And while you're here, give us the like and the subscribe. It's free. You know? Help us out a little bit.
Yeah, helps with the algorithm. And Wednesdays, if you want to see our long form talk show, you can join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific for Identico After Dark.
Yep.
Where we talk about all this stuff.
We talk about this. We talk about movies. We talk about music. We talk a little bit about everything. So come join us live. Come join the chat.